Hello listeners, I am Raha, and today I want to tell you a long story, one of the most important experiences in my life. This is the story of how I walked into the office of NovaTech, a multinational company that I had always dreamed of working for, and how I faced my very first professional job interview. I want to share not only what happened, but also what I learned, what mistakes I almost made, and how anyone listening, especially young learners and job seekers, can prepare themselves for interviews and for life. The day started early. I remember waking up before my alarm, staring at the ceiling, and feeling my heart beating faster than usual. Today is the day, Raha, I told myself. I had ironed my clothes the night before, polished my shoes, and packed my documents carefully in a folder. As I got ready, I repeated a sentence to myself over and over again. Confidence is preparation. Confidence is preparation. I knew that the more prepared I was, the less nervous I would feel. When I finally reached the building, I was amazed. The glass structure rose high above me, shining in the morning sun. Inside the lobby, the environment was buzzing. Employees were moving with purpose. Some were speaking on phones, others were typing quickly on laptops. There were groups huddled together, whispering about presentations. The walls displayed motivational posters about teamwork, innovation, and leadership. I thought to myself, this is exactly the kind of place I want to be a part of. As I waited in the reception area, I noticed other candidates sitting nearby. Some were reading notes, others scrolling nervously on their phones. A tall man in a navy blue suit was tapping his foot anxiously. A young woman in a grey dress kept checking her watch. I felt my own nerves rising. What if they are smarter than me? Will I forget everything I prepared? But then I reminded myself, I am not here to compete with them. I am here to show my own story, my own skills. After a few minutes, the receptionist looked up and said, "Miss Raha, the panel is ready for you." My stomach flipped, but I stood up, smiled politely, and walked toward the door. Inside the room, 3 interviewers sat at a large table. One was a middle-aged man with glasses, probably the head of the department. Another was a woman in her 30s, who smiled warmly as I entered. The third was a younger man, maybe only a few years older than me, who looked focused and ready to take notes. "Good morning, Raha," the woman said. "Good morning, ma'am." "Good morning, sir," I reply with a smile. "Please, have a seat," the man with glasses said. I sat down, trying to keep my posture straight, my hands calm on my lap. The interview began with the most common question of all. "Can you tell us about yourself?" Now, listeners, let me pause the story for a moment. This question seems easy, but it is actually a test. Many people make mistakes here. Let me give you an example. A bad answer would be, "Well, I'm 23 years old. I like watching movies. I have 2 brothers and a cat, and I live in the city center." That tells the interviewer nothing about your skills or why you are sitting there. A better answer is structured like this. Past, what you studied or what you have done. Present, what you are doing now. Future, why you are here and what you want to do next. So my answer was, I recently graduated with a degree in business and technology, where I focused on projects that combined problem solving and teamwork. During my internship at a local startup, I worked on improving a customer support system, which gave me hands-on experience with both technology and customer needs. Right now, I am looking to grow my career, and I admire NovaTech's reputation for innovation. I believe this role would allow me to contribute while learning from experienced professionals. The interviewers nodded, and I felt a little calmer. Then came the technical questions. One interviewer asked, "Can you explain the difference between data-driven decision-making and intuition-based decision-making?" Here again, let me explain. A bad answer would be, data-driven is about data, and intuition is just about feelings. Too short, too shallow. A good answer adds examples and shows reasoning. Data-driven decisions are based on evidence, statistics, and analysis, which makes them reliable for reducing risk. For example, if a company wants to decide which product to launch, they can use customer surveys and sales data. Intuition-based decisions rely on experience and personal judgment. They are useful when data is limited or when creativity is needed, like designing a new campaign. The best leaders often combine both approaches. That was more or less how I answered, and it showed not just knowledge, but also my ability to think critically. Then one of the panelists leaned forward and asked, "What would you say are your strengths and weaknesses?" Oh, listeners, this question is dangerous. Many candidates panic. Some say, "I have no weaknesses," which sounds unrealistic. Others say something harmful like, "I'm always late," or "I can't handle stress." That's risky. The trick is to be honest but strategic. I smiled and said, "I believe my strengths are adaptability, teamwork, and problem solving." For example, during my internship, I had to learn a new software system in just a week, and later, I trained other interns to use it efficiently. For weaknesses, I used to struggle with public speaking. But I have been attending online communication workshops and practicing presentations to improve. I see it as a skill I am actively developing. The panel smiled, and I could sense that they appreciated my honesty and growth mindset. What surprised me was how the interview turned into more of a conversation. The younger interviewer asked, "What are your thoughts on artificial intelligence in customer service?" This was my chance to shine. I answered, "I think AI has huge potential to improve customer experience by giving faster responses and personalized service. But I also believe the human touch is important for empathy and problem solving that machines cannot handle." They seemed impressed, and we spent a few minutes discussing industry trends. That's when I realized interviews are not just about questions and answers. They are about showing curiosity, engaging in discussion, and proving you are someone who thinks beyond memorized lines. Finally, they asked, "Do you have any questions for us?" This is another golden moment. Many candidates just say, "No, I'm fine," which ends the interview on a flat note. Instead, I asked, "What qualities make someone successful in this role? How does NovaTech support new employees in their professional growth? And how does the company adapt to fast-changing global markets?" Their faces brightened. My question showed that I was serious about long-term growth and not just a paycheck. When the interview ended, I thanked them for their time, shook hands confidently, and walked out. My heart was still racing, but deep inside, I felt proud. I had done my best. A few days later, I received an email. "We are pleased to offer you the position of junior analyst at NovaTech." My joy was beyond words. But more important than the job offer was the transformation I felt inside. I had entered the room nervous and uncertain, but I walked out knowing that with preparation, confidence, and communication, I could handle challenges far greater than I had imagined. Looking back now, I realize the lessons were priceless. Always research the company and its values. Always prepare your introduction with past, present, and future. Use examples to show your strengths. Be honest, but strategic with weaknesses. Engage in conversations, not just answers. And never forget to ask smart questions at the end. Most importantly, use every interview as a chance to learn and grow, because even if you don't get the job, you will walk away stronger. When I finally started working at NovaTech, I discovered that the interview was just the beginning of the journey. Every day was a lesson in teamwork, leadership, and resilience. And the one thing that kept me moving forward was the same thought I had the night before the interview: confidence is preparation. So to all of you listening today, I say this: your dream job is waiting, but more importantly, your growth is waiting. Prepare well, believe in yourself, and remember you are not just applying for a job. You are building the foundation of your future.